Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. I am Miss Charlotte, a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyse the astrological charts of public figures. Very often they are celebrities, sometimes they're royals. But today I'll be analysing the signature chart of two people who are more infamous than they are famous, and they are Jeffrey Epstein. He was a businessman, a finance dude, and one of the most successful, prolific child traffickers ever. This guy knew everybody. He used to traffic kids to the elites, politicians, billionaires, movie stars. He knew everyone. Dark guy. And the one who helped him do it was his girlfriend and clearly his private secretary, Ghislaine Maxwell. She is a British socialite. Her daddy was Robert Maxwell. He was this awful human being who stole people's pensions. Ugh. And he mysteriously died as well. So, yeah, this woman has had an interesting life. Oh, my goodness. History does repeat itself. Really, it does. You do end up marrying your father, I swear. Anyway, so a lot of you guys on Instagram have requested this for a while, so this is why we're here. Before I dive in, I just want you guys to know I am offering 4 astrology courses. They are linked below. They're currently £15. They consist of a video presentation of me talking about a particular topic, and then I have a tailored workbook to support your learning, and of course there is the slideshow with all the information. So if any of those courses interest you, they're all linked below, and it supports my little business because this is my full-time gig, guys. So thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate it. Let's have a look at this synastry chart between Ghislaine and Jeffrey. Ooh! You know what? They have a nodal opposition. See how Jeffrey's in the blue, Ghislaine's in the red. You see how he has his north node in Aquarius? And if you look down here, she has her north node in Leo. So they have an 8-9 year, I think it's a 10 year difference between them. So they take each other where they need to be. I always tell people that, you know, if you're in some kind of relationship or friendship with someone who is about 9 or 10, 8 to 10 years older than you, then you're likely to have a nodal opposition and you take each other where you need to be. It's like you're swapping over batons. So this is a very karmic relationship for sure. Let's have a look at the north node of Jeffrey first. So as you can see, Ghislaine has her Jupiter. Jupiter is luck. Jupiter is expansion. Jupiter is travel on his north node. She takes him where he needs to go to realize his creative genius and his glory. His sun is in Aquarius. It's at 0 degrees, and it's not in a conjunction with the north node, but they are occupying the same sign. This is a ruthless man. Like, he is the main character. He is the networker. He knows everyone. Literally, Aquarius is the sign of the network. And he could easily pose as a humanitarian with these placements. But ultimately, it's all about him. Him trying to change the world and do good for others. It was all self-serving, all for his honor, his glory, his money. And she's going to help him get there. Jupiter is like this shining light that is guiding him towards his destiny. She had the connections. His destiny was to make the connections and to be this very powerful man, but if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have achieved it. She was the key to this prestigious elite world. She set him up with all the right people. That's what I'm seeing with this. And her Jupiter's on her midheaven. Midheaven is career. She was a professional socialite. She was a professional networker. So being with him, and his son is here as well, and she already had like some kind of honor and glory just being Robert Maxwell's daughter, you know, and having a great education and speaking multiple languages. She already had this for herself, but ultimately being with Epstein was going to take her to another level, right? She had the connections, but he was the brain. She was the charm. She was the connector. He was the brain behind it all, right? And And there's also this part of fortune conjunction with Mercury. So clearly she could manifest his ideas. Mercury is your intellectual nature. It's the talking, it's the ideas. And she could turn them into something, right? If he had an idea, if they had a discussion, she was the one that could implement a routine or a timetable or a plan of action to make it happen, right? And she also has she's a Capricorn and her Mercury is in a conjunction here, very social. It's an 8th house though. She has a lot of secrets. She has a lot of family secrets because she's an 8th house sun. She's hiding a lot. Very social, very like they're just it's very dark. I see someone who goes to a lot of parties and can make very, very intimate connections very, very quickly, very ruthlessly as well. So interesting. And of course, he has his Chiron in Capricorn. So an insecurity around money and status. She gave him the status. She's got these Capricorn placements that help with this Chiron. Oh, you don't know how to, you're awkward. You don't know how to talk to people. I do. Because he's awkward. He's a genius. He's gifted. Like, this is a person who is, people talk about how charming he was, and I don't buy that. I think he was charming when he was with her. She made him more palatable. That's what I'm seeing here. She made him popular. Yeah, but Chiron in Capricorn is a wound. I wish I knew what house this was in. I wish I knew his birth time. But this is a wound of money and status. He wants to be something. He wanted to be someone greater and bigger than who he was in the beginning of his life. I think he started off life very awkward. I don't even think he was perceived by teachers as that intelligent. Like, he does have a Chiron conjunction with Mercury, so that doesn't mean I think he's incredibly bright. It's very clear that he was gifted, but socially kind of stupid. That's where she comes in, because she's got a Mercury in Capricorn as well, but it's lying in the same sign as her sun and part of fortune. She is a gifted communicator. She's charming. He's not. He's weird. He's weird. She made him cool. She's cool. He's not. But he's smart. Like, he's a genius. So, yeah, they made a really good team. Also, her Venus is in Sagittarius along with her Mars. Ooh, sex and love are very intertwined for her. Venus in Sagittarius is someone who is likely going to marry or be in partnership with a foreigner. People that are like just someone that enjoys travel, and someone who will make friends overseas, someone who will make friends with all different people from all walks of life. Yeah. But I think with her Venus in that 7th house, look, because she's a Gemini rising, her descendant, which marks out her 7th house of partnership, with her Venus here, she's very needy. As brilliant as she is, and as successful as she could have been on her own without him, she's desperate for love. She doesn't see her own value unless it's reflected back at her in a partnership. She needed him to validate her own self-worth and her beauty. And with Mars here, Mars in the 7th house can be difficult. They can make enemies real quickly, really, really quick as well. So I feel like, as charming as she was, I feel like she could have gone too far in friendships. I think, like, there was a ruthlessness in the way she networked, which could have put some people off here. She made lots of friends, but she made some enemies. I think there were people that were a bit alienated by her as well, as charming as she was. Once you get past the veneer, once you get past that pretty veneer of hers, I think some people were quite disturbed with her. Let me just pan out and have a look at this North Node. So this North Node of Destiny, that's in her 4th house of the home and the mother and the family. It's with the moon. So, I mean, normally I'd be like, okay, your destiny is to have children, have babies, da-da-da. She didn't do that. But she didn't have children, not that I know of, I don't think. But I can also interpret this as her going into obscurity. Like, her South Node, which we can't see here. We can see his north node, but her south node is on her midheaven. So that is the beginning of her life, is, you know, whining and dining and celebrities and knowing, like, just knowing everyone, and it's very public. And then as she gets older, it's obscurity. She's literally shut in a prison. So this is about connecting to the home and the mother. Hopefully she's reconnecting with family. I think she's very tight with her brother. But yeah, this is someone who has to learn how to be a housewife or learn how to stay home. Like, this is someone who has to learn how to connect with the feminine, private, domestic sphere. So, and that's what she's kind of doing. She's doing it in prison, but she's doing it. There is Pluto here. His Pluto sits here. So Pluto is going to put you in prison. Pluto is a prison. It's freaking Hades. So he sent her there. So yeah, she took him to a great place and he took her to prison. And then also, you know what's really interesting is that their Liliths are aligning here. She was born on his Lilith return, which would have been, I think it's an 8 or 9 year difference, like a 9 year difference. Toxic. Uranus is the ruler of her midheaven. So her midheaven is in, Aquarius. Her midheaven's in Aquarius. What's the ruler of Aquarius? It's Saturn, yes. And Saturn's nearby. It's not too far away. It's in the 9th house of travel. And yes, travel was a part of her work. But the other ruler is Uranus, and it's in Virgo, and it's in the 4th house, which is the private sphere. So obviously, mother things, domestic things, children things are connected with her work, with the network that she's fostering in that 10th house. It involves children. It involves intimacy. Do you see? Because if the midheaven ruler is in the 4th house, then your business it involves a level of intimacy and privacy. Maybe she has a home office, which she did. Now, if I read this as Uranus playing out in the 5th house of children, well, then children are a key part of her networking, of her business practice. And there's Lilith here, which is like the goddess of like the destructive feminine, like goddess of abortion, divorce, and like it's just dark feminine energy. So the harming of children, Pluto's here too, death, exploitation. It's all clustered here. It's a clusterfuck playing out in the 5th house. She was a risk taker. People with their Pluto in the 5th house, they could have a very interesting aesthetic, but they can also, and Uranus in the 5th house, they take risks. So they could have a very morbid sense of fun, if they make sense, but that is connected to her work because, yeah, Uranus is the ruler of that midheaven. Dark stuff. So with him, with Epstein, he has a moon in Aries, so he is always hungry. Yeah, Aries moons are, what does fire need? It needs things to burn. So it's a bit of an ADH moon. He always needs to be busy. He always needs to be active. It's a very hyper masculine moon as well. It can be a little bit, it can be ruthless. It can be very insensitive. It can be very self-involved because Aries is like the selfish side. I'm an Aries, so I'm just telling on myself here. But there is impulse control for sure. There's issues with impulse control for sure. Yeah, with that, because he can't stop. And I'm thinking with his moon, it plays out in her 12th house, because her 12th house cusp lies in Aries. He haunts her. I think when they got together, she fell completely delusionally in love with him. I think she loved him more than he loved her, for sure. Absolutely. And he did use her. He did. He used her all for everything that she was worth. She was very much of use to him. Yeah. And I think she also felt, even though he didn't give her much, I think she felt nurtured. He's very similar to her father. This dynamic between them is very similar to the one she had with her dad. It was so creepy. But she's the beautiful woman, the beautiful, charming woman on his arm. I definitely see like the replication of the relationship she had with her father, and also the replication of the dynamic between her father and her mother here. It's a mix of those things. It's so dark. Trining moons, moon in Leo, moon in Aries, they're on the same page. They both love an adventurous, active life, probably very into sports and things like that. Fire moons are masculine moons. They need to be active. They're not the coziest moons. They want to shine. They want to be seen. And yeah, they can be a bit self-involved. But hey, I love a fire moon. I'm a Libra moon. I get along with you guys. I understand, and I'm also an Aries sun. So this is not me talking trash on you. But you guys, you do like to be the center of attention, and you do need to keep active because you always need something to burn. And also, like, she is a fire Venus as well, so just super, like, it's just a very compatible chart. Ugh. Mars Venus conjunction. They both have a Mars Venus conjunction. People that are their friends could easily turn into enemies. I think they turned on a lot of people, and these are not exactly squared. They're not even really aspecting each other, so quite interesting. His Venus in Pisces, that's exalted. His love knows no boundaries. Neither does his sexual interests. It knows no boundaries. This is concerning. I've noticed this with a lot of I don't want to paint everybody with one big brush here, okay? But I've noticed that with people, men specifically, that traffic or involved in, prostitution. Can I say that word on YouTube? I have noticed some very heavy Pisces placement, specifically Mars in Pisces. Andrew Tate has a Mars in Pisces. This combination of like Pisces and Capricorn, which is present in his chart, yeah. When I see Capricorn and Pisces together, it's a good energy because it's obviously, it's water and it's earth, and it can manifest in really beautiful ways. It can, but I have noticed with men that work in the sex industry that are very exploitative, there is this sextile. There is this Capricorn Pisces sextile, and it can be beautiful, but if it goes in, if it's a dark placement, if it manifests in a very low vibration, it's very scary. It's very scary. These people make money with no boundaries. These people have sex with no boundaries. Like, it is very disturbing. But yeah, they had a business relationship, and she was in love with him. Even when they were no longer lovers and they were just platonic, it turned into something that was almost like a sibling relationship. Because, yeah. Oh, it's so gross. It's so gross. But at the same time, it was love. Anyway, yeah, that's all. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm just having a look around just to see if I can point anything else out. But I think I got it. I think I got it all. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.